bill to the House. Kia ora.
Madam Speaker.
I call Marama Davidson.
Ai tēnā koe e te māngai o tēnei whare huri noa kia tātou katoa o ku hoa kaimahi. Te tuatahi neira, taku mihi maioha, taku mihi aroha, kia koutou ngā uri o Ngāti Tūwharetoa, nau mai ki tēnei whare, ki o whare, o te whare pāremata. He mihi aroha tēnei ki o maunga, ngā maunga teitei. He mihi kauana tēnei ki ngā moana, ki ngā awa. Nei rā te mihi, te tuku mihi kia koutou, ko tai mai nei tēnei rā hirahira. He mihi anō kia koutou, ngā mokopuna, ngā tamariki, ngā whānau, ngā kaimahi o tēnei pire i whāriki nei i mui a tātou katoa. Nau mai, hara mai, tēnā koutou, kia ora mai tātou katoa. Anō hoki he mihi ki a koe e te ariki tā tumu te hiuhiu me te mana me te aroha o koutou e tūana kei muri a koe. Tēnā tātou katoa. I'm going to start, as have many of my colleagues in this House, by acknowledging the incredible generosity of Ngāti Tūwharetoa arriving at this settlement before us. The generosity in the face of what cannot be overstated, in the face of the Crown's aggression on a number of levels, including physically, including economically, culturally, including violently, and definitely including spiritually aggressive hunger for what Ngāti Tūwharetoa had kaitiaki responsibilities over, including taupo moana, including the maunga, including the cultural connections to all of the whenua and the incredible benefits that all of Aotearoa have gained from the time and ongoing that those connections were broken and that those responsibilities and kaitiaki responsibilities were broken by the violent acts of the Crown. And on that note, I start my contribution by deeply acknowledging that generosity in light of the Crown breach of what was a tiriti agreement that we were to have a good faith partnership and that the Crown was to always uphold the mana motuhake of hapu and iwi of Aotearoa. Te tiriti in its essence supports hapūtanga, and the Green Party has always made it very clear that we want to review the entire settlement process, particularly in terms of its tendency to want to deal with large natural groupings, a particular part of the settlement process that continues to wedge hapu, that continues to undermine hapu, and that continues to create all sorts of raru around the motu. And I acknowledge all of the raru that Tūwharetoa have faced on this particular matter, and that also Tūwharetoa have remained open to the communications that continue to need to happen along the settlement process which pits hapu against each other. I am going to focus quite deeply into the historical account. For me, the historical accounts, and I acknowledge that while this is the first meeting that this House is having with your settlement legislation, that for many years and alongside all sorts of hard work and losses that the kōrero for this negotiated settlement has taken place long before today. I always want to deeply understand, at least the historical account that is presented to us in the bill, which in my opinion I welcome and think these are one of the most important parts of the legislation, but I know that they in no way capture all the nuances and all the impacts that the historical journeys have had on Ngāti Tūwharetoa. In saying that, I do appreciate what we are able to have put into the records, into the written records, and into this house as a historical account. I noted that before 1860, of course, Ngāti Tūwharetoa actively opposed the Crown's aggressive purchasing program, and that in those actions of actively opposing the Crown's grab of land, that they set themselves up as a target. And this happened around the motu, and that with having set themselves up as a target of the Crown by stubbornly and fantastically wanting to protect their kaitiaki and whakapapa links to their whenua, alongside the later invasion of Crown forces into the Waikato Rohe, that brought upon Tūwharetoa series of aggressive actions and breaches by the Crown of Te Tiriti Agreement. So I want to acknowledge that from the get-go, Ngāti Tūwharetoa have made it very clear that they weren't going to have a bar of the land negotiations. It also happened that native land laws were then put in place. All the different mechanisms and tools are used by the Crown to try and usurp and undermine the whakapapa kaitiaki responsibilities that Ngāti Tūwharetoa had over their whenua and their land holdings. And that absolutely legislation was a part of that mechanism and that strategy. And particularly the mechanism of removing collective title into individual title. And that meant that by the 1900s, by 1900, the alienation of Ngāti Tūwharetoa had become incredibly significant and damaging. And that today, much of this land, 430,000 acres of Ngāti Tūwharetoa had been acquired by the Crown, and that today much of this land remains in Crown ownership and has right back from that time continued to benefit everybody, except for the detrimental impacts it has had on Ngāti Tūwharetoa. These are the benefits of colonisation. These are where we need to always remember who has benefited from colonisation. The Crown most certainly has, and parts of the community most certainly have. And the cumulative injustice has gotten stronger and stronger every single day that we do not make appropriate restitution for that cumulative impact and breach of Te Tiriti. I also want to pick up specifically on Ngātihi o te Maunga and the mountain peaks, and in particular the Horonuku te Hiuhiu Tūki no Tuawhā and his action of wanting to grant, make a tuku, wanting to grant in generosity, in the spirit of generosity, a type of gifting whereby those maunga would be protected and preserved for Ngāti Tūwharetoa, for other iwi, and for all New Zealanders. And that we have consistently, despite an unfortunately and completely untrue narrative that Māori and iwi are greedy, that in fact we have done completely the opposite and have wanted to maintain our generosity, manaaki and aroha to communities with upholding those whakapapa connections and responsibilities to rohe and including maunga. So I am grateful, and this is just a small example of some of the historical account that is the starting point for me in looking at what has happened. I'm going to conclude that this settlement, the Greens have always maintained these settlements are not full and final, and we will always advocate for a review of the large natural groupings process and how that is dealt with by the Crown. But also this te tiriti should be a positive force for social cohesion and a way forward. But it needs to happen by making sure that restitution is full. Nō reira, tēnei te mihi aroha kia tātou katoa, tēnā koutou, huri noa kia ora tātou katoa.
Thank you, and I do apologise for not giving the 2-minute bell. I call the Honourable Pini Henare.
Tēnā koe te māngai o te whare kanoho